The significance of Apapa to the economy of Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. Apapa is the home to Nigeria's major seaports. It also houses some important companies.
Yeah, but the traffic on the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway is not for the faint-hearted. This has resulted in the loss of man-hours on the road, on the bad road, and even loss of lives. In the last few days, a joint task force has been working to ensure that the road is free from this gridlock with Operation Restore Sanity. Now, the force has moved about 2,000 trucks and tankers parked along the Oshodi-Apapa Expressway to holding bays.
Now, this has opened up the service lane in the area. The state government has also said it would no longer give approval for the development of fuel depots, also known as tank farms, until it is able to rid the Apapa area of the disarray caused by the parking of trucks on the road.
And then the government has said that the Joint Security Task Force will continue clearing operation for the next 30 days to restore sanity to the area. So Nigerians expect to see some clear routes at least for the period of time. Indeed. Or maybe until the end of the year, or maybe forever.
I was reading an interview of a truck driver who traveled from the north, I think from Jos down to Lagos. He said the journey to Lagos took 5 days, but the journey to Apapa itself took 2 weeks. Just imagine that.
And that's just a typical example of... Now, the Lagos State Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Hygienist Omeje, is here with us in the studio. Hygienist, good morning. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Good morning.
And we also have the General Manager of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, Olawale Musa. Good morning.
You're welcome.
Nice to see you, gentlemen. Now, let's start it this way. Lagosians are quite happy that, really? So there can be some sanity on this road, at least even for a day. But talk to us, let us start with the task force. Both of you were members of the task force. Talk to us about how you succeeded in at least getting these trucks off the road.
Okay, I think that's just the power of synergy. That's the way I would like to summarize it. When by Tuesday, Wednesday, Lagos came to a total lockdown, the Commissioner of Police did summon up emergency meeting of all the security and traffic management agencies in Lagos. And the matter was tabled and reviewed, and there was a marching order for us to really open up this thing. But the beauty of it again is that this time around, by the next day, we had to expand it. After the initial discussion on Wednesday, we had to expand the scope of that joint task force by also incorporating the union officials, which made it very, very nice, so that they can also be there to talk to their people and see what we are seeing on the road. And by Friday night, I mean, all the forces, everybody have deployed, and we were able to brief the men and divide ourselves into 2 batches, because we know it has to be a 24-hour thing, so that no, you don't have a case where fatigue will set in. On, so a group started that Friday night up till the next day morning, 8 a.m. Then others came and took over again. And all the security and the traffic management agencies you can take off in Lagos were there, the LASMA, the FRSC, the military.
Off the road.
Okay, I think that's just the power of synergy. That's the way I would like to summarize it. When by Tuesday, Wednesday, Lagos came to a total lockdown, the Commissioner of Police did summon up emergency meeting of all the security and traffic management agencies in Lagos. And the matter was tabled and reviewed, and there was a marching order for us to really open up this thing. But the beauty of it again is that this time around, by the next day, we had to expand it. After the initial discussion on Wednesday, we had to expand the scope of that joint task force by also incorporating the union officials, which made it very, very nice, so that they can also be there to talk to their people and see what we are seeing on the road. And by Friday night, I mean, all the forces, everybody have deployed, and we were able to brief the men and divide ourselves into 2 batches, because we know it has to be a 24-hour thing, so that no, you don't have a case where fatigue will set in. On, so a group started that Friday night up till the next day morning, 8 a.m. Then others came and took over again. And all the security and the traffic management agencies you can take off in Lagos were there. The LASMA, the FRSC, the military, Army and Air Force contributing forces to the police, of course, providing the greater chunk of it because of numbers. And then, of course, the union officials also. Then LASMA backing us up with their heavy equipment and also their personnel to man those equipment, and that was how we were able to move in unity. I think if we are looking for a typical case of unity in purpose, I think this issue of clearing Apapa traffic is where you can really exemplify it.
And in fact, it's so obvious, you know, having the two of you here, the Lagos Authority of, you know, regulating traffic rather. So what was the input, what has been the input rather of LASMA in all of this? Because we know that you are the Lagos arm of traffic regulation. Yeah,
like you know said, is we work together. But I like to stress that the problem is not yet solved.
Okay.
Let's be sincere with ourselves. We still have it there. What we saw use was brute force. Okay. Yes, because we had to open up some hitherto unused areas to park some of those trucks, then offload some of those empty containers. So what we did was brute force. We opened about 5 places that we started moving them in. Those places were unoccupied. Okay, so we now started moving them in to free the road. So the problem is still there. So that's why it's being extended, and we are bringing an holistic solution to the problem. So once we deal with it, it never comes back. So that's our focus. Okay,
the use of brute force, Nigerians will see it with another eye altogether, because in a democracy,
not brute force in that dimension.
Because I like also put it in context to understand it. Because when the army and the Navy and the Air Force and the police are all involved, and then you use the word brute force.
You see, if LASMA stands on the road, for example, okay, and you don't obey me, okay, by the time you see a policeman, you see a Navy officer, you see an Air Force officer, everything, you'll be compelled. If you ask the union, in fact, the union will appeal to cooperate with us. Let me tell you, they are the ones suffering most. Yes, negotiators are feeling it, but how can you be on queue for 2 weeks? Okay, they defecate on the road, they bat on the road, everything is, they are just there on the road. So it was a big relief to them. So they are very, very eager to work with us. When I say we're using force, it's that number on its own is force.
Okay, so let me come to you, Genius. This is not the first time the Lagos State government would be constituting or reconstituting joint task force to address the Apapa gridlock problem. Yes. So what happened this time around that we are seeing results? No, knowing that it's a federal problem.
No. There has always been results.
Okay.
The only thing is that, let's put things in the right perspective. What actually led to the total lockdown? The ports were not really working as they were. There were issues at the port. If you recall, on Monday, the 9th of July, there was something like a demonstration at the port, to the extent that the drivers took laws into their hands. So when Mike is talking about force, you now know that at a point in time, you still need minimal force to get certain things done in Nigeria.
Yeah, minimal, but the use of the word brutal.
So, to the extent that they brought down the gate, then the NPA said, look, you brought down my gate, you're not going to do any business until you replace my gate. So somehow there was, then the Apapa maritime workers also had issues to resolve with NPA and things like that. And those culminated in the port services being interrupted. And so as it was interrupted, more trucks were still coming into Lagos. Meanwhile, the ones that are there are not entering to do any business because there was need for dialogue. They had a meeting on that Monday with NPA, with all the other operators and the terminal operators and everybody. They had meeting that I recall vividly. So at the end of the day, dialogue prevailed. And by the time they were now opening up again, you already have a backlog.
You're talking about recent problems.
That is what now. Now those other ones. Why I'm telling you that is that you need to know what you are now saying, that what happened, as if before there hasn't been results. There have always been results. This one is just because of this little interruption. and the magnitude of the trucks that came in, there was no outflow, but you keep on having inflow. It now looked as if everything went gaga, and we came in, okay, you heard what the GM last man said. We did what we have not been doing before, and that is, permit me to use the word forcefully, quote and unquote, taking over some holding bays that hitherto, like he said, were unoccupied. But we had to appeal to them, let patriotism prevail here, so that we can use this, your holding base for now, and just open up this road. Then later, these trucks can come out again and go into the port. Okay. You can now see two things that happened that have not been happening before. We've never had disruption in port operations that will result to backlog as we had now, and we never had cause to go to. And this was an eye-opener exercise for all of us also, because we now need to go back again and look at this holding base as a way forward, solving the problem permanently. These holding bays that had hitherto been lying fallow, how can they come on board? How can we utilize them, whether through private arrangement or whatever, PPP arrangement or whatever it is? How can, and yesterday you must have heard that the governor had a meeting yesterday with all of us again. And that was one thing that came up there. There's a Lagos State government and NPA to now license holding bays. Okay. Where if you want to go and enter into the port to do business and you did not enter into any of those holding bays, you can't do business. So that opens also, yes, so that also opens up a business opportunity for the owners of these holding bays that have been lying fallow. Maybe people have not been coming to utilize it, so they will now be compelled to come and utilize it. Okay,
let me come back to you, Olawale. What kind of resistance at first did you witness when you started the relocation or the taking off of the 2,000 trucks from the road?
I can tell you, there was no resistance.
Okay.
Well, the problem we had was, where do we put these trucks? Okay. That was the challenge we had, because they're over 2,000. I can still tell you that we still have a lot on the road, in some axes. On the Ikorodu road, entirely free. But as you approach Eko Bridge down to Ijora, you see how some of them that are there. The same thing from is it Second Rainbow? Second Rainbow. You see how some that are still there, but at least we've opened up the road for. We didn't have any challenge. The main challenge was, where do we put these trucks? And please, there's a need for us to really understand the problem.
Yes.
Okay. So we understand what we are trying to bring in. The challenge has been that, you see, when the natural thing was, when you take these containers with goods out of the port, the shipping lines are supposed to provide a place where those containers will be dropped. Okay. Some of them don't have it. So when they want to return the containers, they all stand on queue. There's no place to put them except take it to the port. That is one. Two, we have these tankers, okay? They're also supposed to have holding bays where the tankers will park before they go and load. Many of them don't have it. You have how many? 63 tank farms?
About 63 tank farms in Lagos.
There? Yeah. All of them, assume they bring in 100, even 50-50 at a go. You know, we are going to have challenges. You all want to load at the same time. So those are the major challenges. So
would these companies now and NPA be forced to have the necessary maybe holding bays, departments?
That's why some of them have been sanctioned. Some of, like the shipping lines, some of them have been sanctioned that they can't do business at the port except they provided it. That is part of what the resolution we had.
The meeting yesterday. Yes. It's on the back of that I asked that question.
Yes, they just have to provide it. That if they have to go and buy or lease from those people that are not using, they have to go and do it. So once we have those ones, they don't need to stand on the road. And we also have the challenge of people that have no business being at the port. They're just looking for business. Okay, I have my truck. I want to do business. So they start milling around the port to see if they can get business. So by the time we do this arrangement, this tank,
licensing of the
licenses of the parks.
Okay.
You understand? So they go in there. You have no reason to be on the road. You just go to the park. Maybe you have to pay, I don't know, depends on the arrangement. That's where you stay until you have a reason. And there must be a call-up. It has to be electronic call-up, then you go to the port to load. So those we are providing solutions that will make it permanent.
Okay, Hygienists, how many holding bays are we looking at? Because when you're talking about relocating over 2,000 trucks, how many holding bays are there to accommodate all of these?
Let's look at it, take it from the beginning.
Okay.
Like what the GM said, it's just because there was a fundamental problem. Like he said, each tank farm, let's look at the wet cargo now. Each tank farm, by DPR regulation, before you could be licensed to do operations, you are expected to have a holding bay that can take minimum of 50 trucks. Minimum of 50 trucks. That's what the regulation says. So what we are now looking at to answer your question precisely and directly is that if we now go and enforce these standards on them, that means that each of the 63 tank farms we have will need to have a holding bay each that must take at least 50 trucks. Then for the wet, dry cargo, then there are so many bonded terminals along. I say it was an eye-opening experience. Along Oshodi Apapa, you only see walls. You don't know what the walls are covering. So and I knew that those walls were really covering vast acres of land that were really flawed, that could take in these trucks, but they are owned by somebody, and you don't just have to go and invade somebody's properties as we have done now. What we did was an ad hoc arrangement, like what a task force is. Task force do not obey stipulated rules and regulations. Whatever you need to do to solve the problem at hand, that's what task force does. They do it, then you can now start talking of regulations. So with what the directive that came yesterday now and the fallout of the meeting now, you can now see that all those holding bays, as a matter of fact, like Musa said, for me, I counted like about eight, and that's just this thing. And the beauty of it is in engaging the unions. The unions were the ones telling us where these holding bays are.
Oh, so they knew all
They knew all this while. But you know the problem, a Nigerian wants to do business and collect money for everything. Then one of the requirements for you to even go into logistics transportation is you must have this holding bay. Mike, the car you have now in your compound, there is a place where you park it. When you were renting the place, it was part of the consideration before you rented the place. Now you must have where you park your car. But this is a situation where people go into haulage business without first providing where those trucks will be parked. So now you will be forced to make use of another person's own holding bay or parking lot and pay him a stipend.
It's expected. Now, let me come in here. You've said this experience has been an eye-opening one, not once, not twice here. And of course, you already gave us the definition of a task force. It doesn't really have to use conventional means. It doesn't have to stick to law. And then, of course, like I said earlier, that's not the first time the government will be constituting a joint task force.
It's not.
To,
and
to
they have been working.
They've been working.
And they have been working.
And you said you got results. If you did got results, and if the joint task force, not just FRC now, really did what was expected. If the joint task force really did what was expected at that time, would you be saying this experience is an eye-opening one, meaning that it's the first time all the affected authorities, all the agencies that are supposed to do the needful, did they even go there initially? When the government constituted joint task force to go and do the needful? Let me tell you what made the difference this time around. Because now we know that many of these people, many of these organizations don't even have holding bays.
Hold on. Hitherto, we have always had ourselves, the traffic management agencies, the security agencies. We never engaged the union officials into it. Why? Are we witches and wizards to know that there is a holding bay somewhere? Hold on. No, it's not part of their duty. If not because you have a crisis in our hand. They are not law enforcement agents. They are not traffic management agents. The only essence of engaging them now is to ensure that they will be able to talk. I want you to cast your mind back on Wednesday, last week Wednesday, the magnitude of the problem at hand. So you also need some persuasion. You also need somebody that can talk to somebody and the person will listen to what you are saying. If we are saying reverse and they seeing their union chairman and they are doing it, there is so much command and control in that unionism of a thing. If their chairman says something, they will obey it even more than you that is carrying your biro and your paper.
That's true.
I'm being honest to you. So we needed to engage them.
The joint task force use that tactic before?
Now, secondly, we never had the problem to this magnitude. We had all reverse, and they seeing their union chairman and they are doing it. There is so much command and control in that unionism of a thing. If their chairman says something, They will obey it even more than you that is carrying your biro and your paper.
That's true.
I'm being honest to you. So we needed to engage them.
So why didn't the Joint Task Force use that tactic before?
Now, secondly, we never had the problem to this magnitude. We had always achieved results by streamlining the trucks. If you remember hitherto, we had always streamlined the trucks and the tankers. And there is always a corridor where every other person uses. So there was no much brouhaha for even the VP to start coming to Lagos to see things for himself. But we know, we on our own, even as government agencies, we know what the fundamental problems were. And we have been addressing it officially. For example, MPA will not, for MPA to rise up now and start sanctioning shipping lines, that will also tell you that they've realized that these shipping lines have been operating without having a holding bay. So government is now coming up to look, stamp its feet. Whatsoever went wrong, either two, needs to be corrected. The DPR was also mandated yesterday to stop licensing tank farms in Lagos when we have too many Ijegu, somewhere in Satellite Town. All those places is another place that is waiting, it's just waiting for when it will explode on its own. If you have ever been to Satellite Towns in recent times, these are residential areas, and so these are things that are now coming up to address this issue. We are also beginning to legislate and enforce legislations more now that if you don't have a holding bay, no business for you.
Okay, well, let me come to you on this. You said earlier on that the challenge is not over yet.
Yeah.
Now, talk to us, the trucks that have been taken off and the ones that are still left, to what percentage is the problem being solved right now? Make us understand.
Firstly, you see the major problem on that road is about 60% those returning empty containers.
Okay.
60%. So, majority of them now, they don't have any reason to even go to the port. We collect their empty containers and stack it. So that solves some of the problem. Lily Pond and Michelle, they are there. We continuous. We've not stopped overnight. We've not stopped. So we are still on it. But you see, there are some that are already on the queue, okay, to enter the port, okay. So because there are different sets of people. Some actually want to go for export. Those ones you can't stack them. Okay. They have to proceed. Some have goods that are perishable, okay, which are also time bound. So those you just have to allow them to go. So we've made so many arrangements, like what we said yesterday. Do you have days where is it those that are exporting that will go to the port?
Yes.
Is it, we do have days that those that are returning empty containers that go to the port? Do you have days, is it tankers that are loading that go to the port? We are looking at all options, okay? We weighed all options. And you're asking him, you see, it's not like we've not been working, okay? But there's more will now. Let me keep it, the will to make sure that this, okay, the problem is solved. The will is stronger.
On all stakeholders.
On the part
all
which
stakeholders.
Because we know Lagos State government has been doing a lot.
On all stakeholders.
Okay.
Everybody.
Let me come in here. Just so many weeks ago, the Lagos State government gave these truck drivers 48 hours ultimatum to clear off the roads. And even at that point, many said that nothing was going to happen. And of course, nothing really happened. What did you, especially FRSC and LASMA, being an arm of the government, Lagos State government, what did you do at that time?
Let me tell you, the truth is, we had an option. Move off the road. If you don't move, we punish them, we sanction them. But it's not their fault. Let's be sincere. You only punish them for what is not their fault.
So you did nothing?
No, this is it. You know, we relate with them. Do we even have where, if we start moving them from the road, where do we, as a government, where do we
Why
even
did you
pick
start
them?
at the definition of a joint task force earlier?
No, I'm just saying, you see,
no need to really stick to
we are doing things that we have not been doing.
Musa, just let me help you out here. Please, if you tell somebody don't urinate here and you have not given him where to urinate, what will he do?
He will on himself.
So why now? Why are we getting results now?
Because
if you didn't prod further that time, why didn't you act further that time? That's what we're saying. You listened to them, you listened to their stories, and then did you backtrack and decided not to enforce the directive of the Lagos State government?
You see, we never did. You see, this is democracy. Like when I used the word brute force, you saw the way you challenged me. Exactly. You understand? So the option for us was that to use that one very, very well, that they should leave by force. But the truth is, you know what they do? When they leave the road, they now clog the inner roads.
Inner roads.
Those inner roads, if you go to inside Ajegule, all those areas, Awodiora, everywhere, they clog there. They will leave the main road. Those people living in those areas cannot come out. So because we realize that, we like soft pedal. But what we now do, you see, Lagos State is providing where we can park 3,000 trucks. The one that MPA by Tinkan, yes. I think that can also take 2,000, yes, opposite the gate, 2,000 or 3,000 once completed. Yes. Okay. You understand? So you have to provide the options for them. Honestly, if they don't have options, we are only deceiving ourselves.
All right. So Hygienist, what's the time frame now to clear these trucks off the roads?
The governor have given the task force the mandate in the next 30 days to still be in situ for the next 30 days. And let me also come back to your question.
Okay.
Musa said something. There is now more will. One thing is for you to tell somebody to go and do something. Another thing is for you to back him up with all the necessary financial, political, and every administrative will for the person to realize, to get result. For example, before, perhaps because the magnitude of the problem was not like this, we never had cause to go and start invading.
Was not really like this. There were so many stories on national dailies, on television. In fact, there was a report that Dangote was losing about 2 billion naira monthly to the Apapa Gridlock.
I'm looking at it from the point of total lockdown like this.
Okay.
We never had this kind of total lockdown.
Many companies use waterways to get to their workers of companies there use waterways to get to their office.
That's a healthy development. We are beginning to now beginning to survey multimedia transport system. So it's also part of
alternative means of transport.
Look, do you know at Lily Pond?
Yes.
There's a rail.
There's a rail there.
Where you can park those empty containers. They use the rail to take them. Why don't you provide holding bays where they can use water to move them? You see, these are the things, those are the issues we discussed yesterday. That's why I say there's more will.
Government is now beginning to be more determined to solve this problem. You know, and there's something else we have not also mentioned. Yesterday too, mandate was given that the rehabilitation of the roads there will also
commence.
Because these are also part of the problem.
Somebody have loaded
palliative measures. Somebody have loaded to go out through that Osho, the Apapa by Trinity axis of it is a problem. Because the road has totally
in all of those, because that route, the road that leads there is a federal road. Yes. In all of this arrangement, what is the role of or contribution of the federal government to it?
When we say stakeholders, it's all encompassing. And please, government is government, whether federal or state or local government. What is their government for the people, and they are all serving the people.
Yeah.
The federal controller,
but they are different. There are different governments.
The federal controller works.
But there are different governments with different constitutional responsibilities. So we want to know, because you said earlier on that the vice president had to come here to see for himself.
Yes.
So if he was
use them as example, really, there are federal roads.
Exactly, you are. But the point there is, you are not the mouthpiece of the federal government.
The federal controller of works was also at yesterday's stakeholders meeting.
Okay.
And that was where he got the stakeholders openly said, look, there is need for palliative. For your information, that section of the road has already been awarded. I think it is just following due process. For it tends to complete. That's why the contractor has not moved to site. But now, and that's why when you have something emergency like this, you need to do something. Prior to when the contractor will move into federal ministry or whether controller was mandated to go and do something to make that place at least pliable for trucks in and out. Because we cannot divulge the issue of the state of the road from it. We can't take that away. It has to be. And those palliatives will be done. Within the next 30 days, we are going to 30 days. The road owner said the governor was so emphatic about it that within 1 week, something will have to be done. Even if the state government have to give a lending hand for us to get that palliative done, he was willing to do so. So that's what, and you will see the magic that will just create if those roads are very, very motorable. And things like that.
Well, we'll come back to you after to talk about what happens after the 30 days. But we have joining us now Sarah Yeku, our correspondent who is on ground. She is going to also monitor what is going on there. Sarah, it's good to have you join us now. What are you seeing, and what's the development so far? How cleared are the roads?
Okay, so from the roads are clear up to the point from Ido, the bus terminal, all the way down to Ijora. But I'm yet to get to Ijora 7-Up. But the roads are clear owing to the fact that you have military men on the road, men from last mile units, men from the police force, NSCDC, also monitoring traffic and making sure that commuters do not violate traffic rules. So they are ensuring that commuters maintain one lane, because you have trucks parked just at the other lane at a point. So from Ido, for us, when we were coming from the office, we passed through 3rd Main Bridge and we spent about an hour just to get to the Oyibo junction and link up to Ijora. So it was a bit, the traffic on the 3rd Mainland Bridge was what really held us up. But then from Ijora, Oyibo, Ijora, down to Under Bridge, you know, the traffic is moving. Commuters are moving. It's quite easy for them because of the men of the security forces on ground.
All right. What about containerized vehicles and maybe trucks there? Can you see many of them?
Yeah, we see a lot of them still on the road. They are yet to be moved, or the owners are yet to move them. And so we're going to the holding bay, which we hear that some of the trucks have been moved to. We're going to the holding bay, which is still around the Ijora 7-Up area, and that's where we're going now. But some of the trucks are still on the way, but then they're just on one lane. At a point, we saw that they were parked on 2 lanes, probably because the road was broader, you know. So they were parked on 2 lanes, and then commuters had to take still the same 1 lane down to wherever they were going around the Ijora axis. So the trucks are still parked on the way, but they are not obstructing vehicular activities. All
right, Sarah, where you are right now, what is the state of the road? Can you talk to us? Is there any construction going on the road, or how bad is the road? Can you give us an idea?
From where I am now, of course, apart from what I see as dirt on the road is smooth, but there are no construction work going on. There is no construction work at all going on. We don't see any construction work on the road, but we're still going down, going to Ijora axis. We're still under the bridge. Ijora 7-Up specifically, we're almost there to check if the Holding Bay, what's happening at the Holding Bay, and how the trucks are being coordinated in that axis. But there are no construction workers on the road. No construction work is going on.
All right, Sarah, let's leave you so you can get to the holding base and get more updates for us. Thank you for the work being done. Let me come to you now. First off, I want you to let us know, have a picture, knowledge of the duration of time it would have taken a typical motorist to ply the road where she is. She said it took about an hour after they left the 3rd Mainland Bridge to get to where she is at the moment.
The issue is 3rd Mainland Bridge at this hour. We all know what it is.
Yes, that's why I excluded that.
There's high volume of traffic there. And you can't also separate 3rd Mainland Bridge from where people also link up through that axis. So there's also high volume of traffic within those periods at this peak hour. Under normal circumstance, in fairness, it's not supposed to take up to an hour. It's not supposed to. Perhaps a maximum of 20 minutes.
Yes, but because
but because of some of these hitches we are having. Musa said something. He said, the problem is not yet completely over. We have never come to say, hooray, it is all over. No. The trucks, the tankers are still there on the road, in some part of the road, but they are well streamlined now. They are on one lane. Every other person is using the other lane. So under such circumstances, you will know that the volume of traffic going out in the morning also will also have to be restricted to that one lane. So that creates more traffic on that same single lane. So you can be sure that you spend more hours than what you have there, or more minutes than what you have been. If you have been spending 20 minutes before it will reach to 30, if you have been making 30, it could be to 40 or 50 minutes. So I think that's what is happening. But let me also say something regarding to the report he had. Where she is now, if there is no field portion, you won't see construction work. Okay. But if she had gone to area B axis, for example, you would have seen that that is where the AG Dangote is actually working. The work they started at MPA, front of MPA gate, all through Eleganza, all through Flour Mills. They are now linking up.
We have another correspondent. Yes, we have another correspondent, Rashid. Yes, Apapa. He's at Apapa. Yes, Apapa area, the heart of the traffic problem. Hello, Rashid. Paint to us what you can see at Apapa right now.
Well, we are on the Lily Pond Bridge now, right away, and that is serving the axis of the Lily Pond container terminal. For the now, the task force here, comprising of the Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Army, LASMA, Federal Safety Corps, and even LASEMA, they are all on ground. And with what we gathered, it's a 24-hour operation in order to clear and evacuate these articulated vehicles. Over time, this place has been said to be a nightmare to commuters, and as you can see now, they are giving all effort into it to clear every driver who is coming around to park here. You can see the security agencies are telling whosoever is trying to come here to park to move out of this place and get themselves down to the terminal, which is down the bridge here. So over time now, it's been a very clear and a free flow of traffic against what is obtainable here over time. And you can see, for anybody to be able to park here or even come around here, you must be passed and have some documents to show for it. So it's been an ongoing exercise, though there's this fear from the people whom we've been able to speak with here that the time which is being given for this operation is too short to get the whole vehicles or the articulated vehicles out of the road. That if only this operation can be extended or even be instituted to be on a day-to-day basis, that there is every tendency that the free flow of traffic which is being enjoyed here will be a thing that will stay. And secondly, they are of the opinion that tank farms and containers importers should try as much as possible to get a holding bay for their vehicles, that this will be the lasting solution to the traffic jam which is being experienced on the Apapa Expressway. But for the now, on this axis, it's been a free flow of traffic, a clear departure of what is being experienced over time.
All right, Rashid, I know you've been there just a little while ago. I don't know if you've spoken to some of the truck drivers, how cooperative, or any of the union members, how cooperative they are ready to be with this directive that are being given by the task force.
Well, the beauty of the fact is that the task force comprised of officers of the drivers' unions, the NUPENG, and every other critical key players as far as Apapa, WAF, and every other activities happening in there is concerned. If you can see, there are officials of NUPENG here and every other unions which have one or two things to do about containers, about loading vehicles, about articulated vehicles. So it's been a very a cordial relationship where there is a very good cooperation between themselves. And you know, I have with me here even the NUPENG official here. How would you describe this operation so far?
This operation, everything is tight now. So everything is tight. It even affects us. It affects everybody. It affects the nation itself. You understand?
Now that the vehicles are being moved away, how will this help your operations?
They are moving small, but they are not moving well. We don't know what's wrong with. Now it's on this container cause all this problem. Sir, it's all this container. So we don't know.
So it's not your own, it's not in Upeng.
No, at least I'm the representative for Folawiyo Energy. Okay. For our depot, at least we can load at least more than 150 trucks a day to serve the nation. But now we can't load more than, from yesterday to this morning now, we load only 90 trucks.
Now that there is every free flow of traffic now, I think things should pick up.
Please, we are praying. We are praying. Make God let everything pick up. So if there's anything government can do for us to make this thing at least do something for us, so that we pray that our government. Right. Please, we need government help for this road. So since we can't pay school fees, we can't even finance our children, our wife at home.
All right. Azizat and Mike, this is the situation here.
Okay.
We believe that with this task force in action, things will definitely get back to normal at the Apapa Expressway. Okay,
Rashid, have you been able to get to any holding bay to let us know the situation there?
Well, another crew they are on their way to get to this holding base to see the situation of things as it is now.
All right. Rashid, thank you very much for letting us know what's going on there. I think God has so much assignment on his plate.
It's a miracle.
We pray God will. We pray God will. But however, we were talking about earlier that you have about 30 days for this action or this exercise. But after 30 days, what's going to be the nature of the operations in that region?
With the meeting we had yesterday with the governor and all the stakeholders and some of the resolutions, if there is effective and efficient implementation of those resolutions, I think it's just a question of time. All these things will be a thing of the past. The critical thing there is the holding bay. Now, with MPA and Lagos State government coming together now to license holding bays, and MPA insisting, MPA is very critical to all these things. Okay. When MPA insisting that if you are not coming from any of this license holding bay, there is no business for you. You know what that will mean? All these trucks, like the GM earlier highlighted, who don't have business coming to Porto, they are just coming like vulture to scout around to see whether they will see
scavenge for some business
deals. They will see business. Those ones, they are now out of it. So if you want to do business in the port, you first of all go into that place. If she wants to engage you, she will come there and you discuss. And when your papers are ready,
so they have to come through the holding base.
They have to come through the holding bay.
Okay.
So
and there's a document to show that you were at the holding bay.
You are from the holding bay. Okay. So with that, we have solved 50% of this problem.
Let me come to you. The government also announced that it will be setting up a mobile court, to try lawbreakers, motorists that are not sticking to the law and all that. Since you started this joint operation, has there been any arrest of any driver that just refused to toe the line?
No. In fact, yesterday, my officers called me. I said they should slow down now. We want to make sure that at least we have been able to move those that are supposed to be moved. Then those that are not supposed to be around there, they just have to leave. Okay, let me tell you, the number of trucks there is over 4,000. Okay, and as you move them, they still come in. The more you move, they are coming in. They keep coming in. So by the time you move 2,000, I can tell you that you have another 1,000 coming in too. Sure, you understand? And some of them are just seeing what we are doing. So we also have to look at it from that angle. Okay, because when you begin to hold people, like I said, it's not really their fault. Okay, it's the fault of the system. Okay, so if you now penalize somebody for what we as a government, when I say government, federal, state, have not been able to put on ground, it's not fair on those people. So in that regards, what we have decided is that with the union, okay, this person move, you don't move. Is it supposed to be here? It's not supposed to be here. The union, that's what we are doing. We identify. No, we identify. If they don't move, we take them up.
Okay.
You understand? So that's what we did. So
that would have been after all the palliative measures have been put in place.
Yes, we start taking them up in cooperation with the union. Okay. We don't want to punish anybody unjustly. Okay.
All right. As we round off now, Hygienist, what would be your advice to commuters along that along that route now? Those who commute along that route, motorists, all those who are contributing to traffic, truck drivers and all of that. What would be your advice to them so that we maintain the sanity?
I want to advise Lagosians, particularly anybody that has anything to do within Apapa and all these things. I think it is high time we change our mode of transportation. If you are where there is park and ride, why not make use of it? You can just park and enter the BRT, so that we don't have too many vehicles going into that same Apapa to complicate this situation. Where you can use the waterways. If you go to Siemens, you can always use the boats to take you from Siemens to the other side of Apapa, and you go and you transact your business, and you are off. Lagos is opening up the inland waterways for water transportation. Let us begin to change. You said like that time that there are some of them that now go to the office through the waterways. And within the context you said it was as if it was abnormal for them to use the waterways to go to work. It is a normal thing to use the waterways to go to work. All we need to do is ensure that standards and safety are also encapsulated in all those modes of transportation.
I was just saying it when you were saying that the problem wasn't that, much before.
Okay. So if Lagosians, and then please cooperate with the task force.
Okay.
And in terms of obeying traffic rules and regulations.
Quickly.
Okay.
I just want to tell Lagosians that this government has that resolve. That problem will be tackled permanently. Okay. They should just have patience. Okay, everybody is working together. Everybody, for the first time, everybody.
For the first time.
For the first time that we all have a major focus and we are determined. Okay. It's going to work out. Just give us our time.
And what has been achieved is close to a miracle.
Yeah, exactly. And we're still praying that God will come and help us. Olawale Musa, General Manager, Last Mile, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for coming.
And the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Lagos Sector Command, Junior Major, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right.